All right, shalom, shalom, Israel. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, which the world calls God, and Yahweh is his only begotten Son, who the world inwardly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give a strong shalom to all the mighty men. They're going out there, they're laboring. They're presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice. They're doing all they can to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Not only that, they're enduring the elements, the 100-degree weathers, freezing below codes, and everything that's trying to hinder the work of the Most High. Shalom, shalom. I want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty Aqua, right? The sisters that are at home, they're reverencing their husbands. And the unmarried sisters, being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Most High. Shalom, shalom. I want to give another strong shalom, last but not least, to all the mighty teenagers, right? The children that are at home doing all they can to make their calling and election sure in the last days, right? By the topic of this cold cut, it's titled a Hotseat Q&A Volume 1. All right, Hotseat Q&A Volume 1. We'll be answering questions. You know, a lot of people have questions. They DM us, and we might not be able to tackle them online. All right, we might not be able to respond fast enough. So we have, these Q&As, so things are quicker, and so the ministry could be edified through the Spirit. Not only that, this gives us a chance to get on the hot seat. All right, say, okay, what precepts you need to sharpen up on? Okay, man, I ain't go over this breakdown in a while. Things of that nature. So the Most High has given, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in the last days, and it's up for you to search these things out. Let me kick it off with Isaiah, the 55th chapter, because again, this thing is a banquet. This truth is an all-you-could-eat buffet, and it's up for you to buy these answers. Again, this truth is not going to be on sale forever. Serve knowledge, wisdom, understanding. That's not going to be around to the end of the world. A lot of these things are going to be closed up and sealed as the latter days approach and go on. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 55 and verse number 1. Right, this Isaiah 55 and 1, and it reads, "Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and he that have no money, come ye buy and eat. Yea, come buy wine and milk without money and without price." So the Lord said, everyone that thirsteth, hey, come to the waters. What are the waters? This truth, this understanding, wisdom, right? These are the living waters. So if you're thirsty, which you have a lot of brothers and sisters, they're thirsty, you have to go to the waters and you have to drink of it. It says, and he that have no money, come buy and eat, because you could buy this truth with no money. You could buy wisdom, knowledge, understanding. We have wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Now, we're not charging people for money. Okay, you want this question answered? I need a couple dollars. I need $20, $40. No, the Lord gave these things freely. That's why it says come and buy without money. A lot of this stuff doesn't cost physical money, but it does sacrifice some time that you have to be able to acquire these things. It says, yeah, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Wherefore do ye spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which satisfieth not? Hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in the fatness. And you got to let your soul delight itself in his word. This is how you get spiritually fat. You start growing. You have to abound, again, in the work of the Most High God. So you got to come, again, there's no money. You got to come and buy this thing. Let's go to Proverbs, chapter 23 and 23. Right, this Proverbs chapter 23 and verse number 23. It reads, buy the truth and sell it not. Also wisdom and instruction and understanding. So the Lord said to buy the truth and don't sell it. What does it mean by don't sell it? Don't sell it for the cares of this world, for things that's not profitable. It says also wisdom and instruction and understanding. So you have to buy these things, through the Spirit. So again, this is a hot seat Q&A, right? I will be on the hot seat taking questions, and most are willing, we can answer them to the best of our ability through the Spirit. All right, so let's look at the first question. And shalom, everybody tuning in to the live stream. All right, from the brother Love Pierce, right? Break down Song of Solomon, chapter 3 and 1. All right, let's go to it. Shalom, King. Let's go to Songs of Solomon, chapter 3. Let's go to Songs of Solomon, the 3rd chapter. Right, this is the book of Songs of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 1. Now, when you read the book of Songs of Solomon, right, Songs of Solomon is a very spiritual book, very poetic, has a lot of metaphors, similitudes. It's a lot of things that's not literal in that when you read the scriptures. This is a love song, a love story, for lack of better terms. So when you read the book of Songs of Solomon, right, it's broken down on a threefold level. On one fold, it's dealing with Yahushua and the nation of Israel on one fold, right? On the second fold, it's dealing with man and wisdom. And on the third fold, it's dealing with Solomon and his woman. All right. So you have to, this thing could go in and out of context. So coming into, you reading Songs of Solomon, you have to know on what levels this book is broken down on, so you don't get confused. But it's chiefly on the main fold, dealing with Yahushua and the nation of Israel. So we're going to read Songs of Solomon 3 and 1. It reads, by night on my bed, I sought him whom my soul loveth. I sought him, but I found him not. So when it says, by night on my bed, I sought him whom my soul loveth, who is the person whom your soul loveth? All right, that's Yahushua. That's just truth. All right, that's this man. That's whom his soul loveth. All right, let's go to Songs of Solomon, chapter 5, to prove that. All right, this Songs of Solomon, chapter 5 and verse number 2. It says, I sleep, but my heart awaketh. It is the voice of my beloved that knocketh, saying, open to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my undefiled. For my head is filled with dew, and my locks with the drops of the night. So it says, I sleep, but my heart awaketh. It is the voice of my beloved. All right, who is the beloved? Yahushua, he's the beloved. All right, he's the only begotten son. All right, let's get that real quick precept. I believe that's Matthew chapter 3 on Yahushua being the beloved. Right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 3 and verse number 16. It says, and Yahushua, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him. And he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lightning upon him. And lo, a voice from heaven saying, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. So he had a voice descending upon him, the Spirit of God, that says, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased, which is none other than the Mashiach Malak Yahushua. So he's that beloved. He's that person who your soul is seeking, who your soul loveth. He's the one that's knocking at the door. And the door, according to the scriptures, is your mind. Let's prove that real fast. Let's go to Revelation chapter 3. Let's go to Revelation chapter 3 and verse number 20. Revelation 3 and 20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. So the Lord is always standing at the door, meaning your mind, he's always knocking. Whether that's the Spirit tell you to read, get up and pray, fast, depart from wickedness, don't hang with these certain group of men, don't do this, don't do that. The Lord is always knocking so he can be able to sup with you through the Spirit. So in Songs of Solomon, chapter 3 and 1, I'm going to read it again. Let's go back to it. It says, by night on my bed, I saw him whom my soul loveth. I saw him, but I found him not. Meaning this man was searching for the truth. All right. He was searching for the Lord, Yahweh Shah. But he wasn't able to find him. And that might be certain men and women in this truth. You first, when you was in the world, you was just seeking for the truth, but you wasn't finding it. Right? You was seeking for the true understanding, the living waters, but you wasn't able to find it. It was always something blocking you. It was always something stopping you. That's how this man in Songs of Solomon, the 3rd chapter was. He was seeking. Guess what? He didn't find it. Reading on verse 2. It says, I will rise now and go about the city in the streets, and in the broad ways I will seek him whom my soul loveth. I saw him, but I found him not. See that? So this man, he go up in the streets. He's searching. And on another fold, people, they search everywhere. People, they get into the Africanism, trying to seek the Lord. They get into the spirituality, into the crystals, the rocks, etc. People do all type of stuff to seek the Lord. Smoke weed, pop pit, do mushrooms, ecstasy, all of these different acts to try to seek the Most High God. People go into the wilderness and they practice celibacy, man. And they like monks to try to seek the Lord. So guess what? You searching everywhere, but guess what? You haven't found the Lord. And on a deeper level, that's because everything is a set time and place for it to happen. All right. Let's read that again. It says, I will rise now and go about in the city, in the streets, in the broad ways. I will seek him whom my soul loveth. I saw him, but I found him not. Point number 3. The watchmen that go about the city found me, to whom I said, saw ye whom my soul loveth? Now, who is the watchman? And why did this man go into the streets, into the broad ways? That's because what? The servants of the Lord was out there on the highways and byways. Let's go to that in Luke 14. All right, let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 14. Right, this is Luke chapter 14 and verse number 23. And it reads, and the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. So the servants of the Lord, they're in the streets. They're on the highways and byways. All right. Hey, when you read Proverbs, let's go to Proverbs chapter 1. Quick precepts. The Lord said, wisdom crieth in the streets. Wisdom is everywhere. All right. I was just at the so-called store earlier, and guess this Jake, older Jake, he was spinning me some type of wisdom, man. All right. So wisdom is always going to be present. It's just up for you to grasp it. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 1 and verse number 20. Proverbs 1 and 20. Wisdom crieth without. She uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, and the openings of the gate. In the city she uttereth her word, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. So guess what? Wisdom, she's crying in the streets. So when this man went to the streets, guess what? He ran into the watchman. Now, who is the watchman? The men and the servants of the Lord on the highways and byways, prophesying the destruction of America, going out there shaking the hand, and that's prophesying through the Spirit. Those are the watchmen. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 3. Right? Those that's not literal watchmen. All right. He just went inside the streets. He found watchmen on high tower. No, this thing is spiritual. That's you looking at it. If you believe it's talking about that, that would be from a carnal aspect. All right, the Lord said, through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 3. It's the book of Ezekiel chapter 3 and 17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. So the watchmen are supposed to go out there and give warning to the people, to rebuke them through the Spirit. They see them spiritually naked. The watchman got to get on them and say, hey, you got to repent. You got to do this. You got to do that. That's what the watchmen are about. So this man, he went out and he asked the watchman, hey, y'all found, who my soul loveth? And that may be, certain brothers watching this live. You was just walking with your woman and you just ran into the servants of the Lord. Lo and behold, they start asking you, what's your nationality? You got 2 minutes for the word. All right, what's our history prior to 1619? And guess what? Next you know, they going into Deuteronomy 28:68. They're showing you who the Edomites are. They're showing you that Yahushua is a so-called black man who the world enemy calls Jesus Christ. Next thing you know, you win this thing. It happens every day. So let's go back to Songs of Solomon, chapter 3. All right, Songs of Solomon, chapter 3, and verse number 3 again. It says, the watchmen that go about the city found me, to whom I said, saw ye whom my soul loveth? It was but a little that I passed from them. But I found him whom my soul loveth. I hailed him and would not let him go, until I brought him into my mother's house, and to the chamber of her that conceived me. So a little bit after this man came from the watchman, he found him whom his soul loveth, which is the truth, the Lord, Yahushua. And he held him. It said, and he would not let him go. We just read that in Proverbs 23:23. Buy the truth and sell it not. So once you get hold of the Lord, you get a hold of this thing, you can't let this thing go, man. Not for the cares of this world, not for lust, slothfulness, the pleasures of the flesh. You have to hold this truth like you got to hold it. All right? Like you got your son in your hand, you won't let him fall. You got to get a good grip on this thing, because if you let this go, it's a 99.9% chance that you would never obtain it again. All right? Reading on the latter end, it says, until I had brought him into my mother's house and to the chamber of her that conceived me. And your mother's house is wisdom. These different chambers are the different the different books of the Bible. So certain brothers, they was born in the chamber of Chronicles. All right, meaning they came into this truth off a precept in the book of Chronicles. Certain men, they was born in the chamber of Deuteronomy, Exodus, Leviticus. These are the different chambers within your mother's house. Who is your mother? Wisdom is your mother. Let's get one precept on that. We're gonna move on to the next question. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. All right, let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, and verse number 12. Let's go to it. Right, it's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, and verse number 12. And I rejoice in them all, because wisdom goeth before them, and I knew not that she was the mother of them. So guess what? This man didn't know that wisdom was the mother of them, but guess what? She is. She's the one that birthed you through this. If you have ears, through the spirit. All right. So Lord willing, that answer your question. Let's move on from Love Pierce. It says, can an Israelite be Satan? Or is Satan just a spiritual demon and the so-called white man? All right, that's a good question. Can Satan be Satan? Can an Israelite be Satan? Salakia. Absolutely. All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 16. And we're going to put that word Satan up in a blue letter. But for the meantime, let's go to Matthew chapter 16. So anybody could be Satan. Or I say this, Satan is a spiritual demon. Satan is a spiritual demon on the left hand, the top spiritual demon on the left hand side, and he can hop on anybody. An Israelite, a heathen. I mean, it's a spirit. Satan can hop on anybody. So again, we want to get that straight. Satan is a spiritual demon on the left hand side, and he can hop on anybody. Let's go to Matthew chapter 16. So yes, an Israelite could be Satan. So-called white man he is, Satan. We're going to go into it. It's like it. All right. Let's go to Matthew chapter 16. Matthew 16 and 23. It reads, but he turned and said unto Peter. Now, this is Yahushua. So he turned and looked on Peter and said, what? Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. So Peter is an Israelite last time I checked. And guess what? The Lord called Peter Satan. Why? Because Satan would hopped on Peter. And Satan could do that. All right. So again, Satan just means adversary, Hashatan in Hebrew. All right, let's pull that up. Pull that up through the spirit. All right. Let's pull that up. I might have to download it. I don't know why it's blocking my blue letter. All right, bear with me. Let's see if I can pull it up. Hashatan in the Hebrew. All right, so you got Satan in the strong concordance. Pull it up. I'm pulling it up. And it reads, Satan, the arch enemy of good, adversary, Satan. You got the outline of biblical uses. Adversary, one who withstands. Adversary in general, personal or nation. Superhuman adversary, Satan. So that's all it means. Can an Israelite be Satan? Yes, an Israelite could be Satan. All right, we just read it. Satan can hop on anybody. Satan fills up people's mind. And not only that, Satan is a spiritual demon on the left-hand side. And Satan is a so-called white man. Let's prove that. Let's go to I believe that's First Chronicles chapter 11. I believe that's First Chronicles 11 and 14. Let's see. Might be Second Chronicles 11. Right, so like it, bear with me. See if I can get this precept. Come on, select it. 1 Kings 11-14. All right. It's the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11 and 14. And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. So the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon. Now, when you go into that word adversary in the Hebrew, is Hashatan, which is Satan, which would be Hadad the Edomite. So according to the Bible, the Edomites, they're Satan. All right, that's plain. Hadad the Edomite is Satan. All right, let's move on. It says, why does it say Yahushua being made a high priest in Hebrews 9 and 11 if he was from the tribe of Judah? All right, let's go to it. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 9 and verse number 11. Right, it's the book of Hebrews chapter 11. It's like in chapter 9 and 11. It says, but Christ, being come in high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not at his building. All right. So it says, why does it say Yahushua being made a high priest? So Yahushua, although he was from the tribe of Judah, and the priest or the Aaronic priesthood is chiefly the sons of Aaron, which would be Levites. Somebody might wonder, well, hold on, how is he from the tribe of Judah and he's still the high priest? Well, that's why we got to go back. Let's go back. Let's go to the book. Let's go to the books, the scriptures. All right. Let's go to the book of Psalms 110. We got to go to the scriptures, chiefly the Old Testament. And that's why a lot of Christians, they don't know what's going on because they're trying to figure out the same thing. Well, that's why you have to read the Psalms. You have to read the scriptures. When I mean scriptures, I'm really, talking about the Old Testament. All right, let's go to Psalms chapter 110 and verse number 4. It says, the Lord has sworn and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever, after the order of Melchizedek. So before the foundation of the world, before everything was created, it was the Father and the Son. And the Father sworn unto his Son that he would be a high priest after the order of Melchizedek from old. Let's go to John chapter 17. And you read about that account in John the 17th chapter. It's a lot of stuff that went down when it was just Yahushua and the Most High. Now, it's not in depth in the scriptures what really happened, but it's some things that was said that, is in secret. All right, let's go to John chapter 17 and verse 24. The Father, Yahushua and the Most High had a father-son connection that was so strong. It supersedes any father-son connection now. All right, you might really love your little man, your little boy, giving him a nuggie, rubbing on his head. And the love that the Most High has for his son, Yahushua, supersedes that love. All right? And this was all before the world even began. So let's go to John 17 and 24. It says, Father, I will that they also, whom thou hast given me, be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory, which thou hast given me, for thou lovest me before the foundation of the world. So the Most High loved Yahushua before the foundation of the world. And with that, when he loved his son for the foundation of the world, he gave him certain promises. And he sworn unto Yahushua that he will be made a priesthood after the order of Melchizedek, and the Most High can't repent from what he said. Now let's go to Hebrews chapter 7. Let's go to Hebrews, the 7th chapter. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 7 and verse number I'm going to start at 11. It says, if therefore the perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was that there should another priest should rise up after the order of Melchizedek and not be called after the order of Aaron? Right. So what it's saying is, if the Levitical priesthood was perfect through the Spirit, what's the point of having another priest after the order of Melchizedek come? What's the point of that if the Levitical priesthood was perfect underneath the law? That's what it's saying. Verse 12. For the priesthood being changed, there's made a necessity, a change also of the law. So the priesthood was changed. It transitioned. We're not under the Levitical priesthood right now. Why? For one, nobody can shoot at his father's house on a deeper level. Yeah, you might say, well, I'm from the tribe of Judah. I'm from the tribe of Naphtali, Issachar. You might believe that through faith, but you can't go from your genealogy and search back every one of your fathers to your tribe. So we wouldn't truly know. It's like just like during the time of Ezra. We wouldn't truly know who's from the tribe of Levi to even be called a priest. Right? Read it on. It says, verse 13, for he of whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe. So this thing now, it pertains to another tribe through the Spirit, of which no man gave attendance at the altar. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood, right? Because Moses didn't call the Judites to handle the priesthood. He called the tribe of Levi and chiefly the sons of Aaron. But what? It says, and it is far more evident that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there arises another priest who is made not after the law of a carnal commandment. Because the law had to be made after a carnal commandment. But what? But after the power of an endless life, because Yahushua wasn't made after a carnal commandment. Yahushua, he was made for an endless life. Verse 17, for he testified, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. For there is verily a disannulling of the commandment going before the weakness and unprofitable thereof. So what this is going into, when you read Hebrews the 7th chapter, is going into how the Levitical priesthood was lacking in certain things. That's why Yahushua had to come on the scene, and he had to be the high priest after the order of Melchizedek. And through Yahushua, we are all priests after the order of Melchizedek. If you have ears to hear. All right. He opened up after that veil twain in half. Let me get that in Matthew 27. That opened up a door for all tribes to be priests and to offer up spiritual sacrifices. Other than that, we wouldn't be offering up spiritual sacrifices. Only the priests would. But through Yahushua's death, that opened up the gate for the priesthood of Melchizedek to come in and supersede the Levitical priesthood. Right, let's go to Matthew 27 and verse number 50. Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks went. So it says the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, symbolizing that change from the Levitical priesthood to the priesthood of Melchizedek. All right, so that's why Yahushua was able to be a priest, high priest, although he wasn't from the tribe of Levi. All right, next question from Love P.S. Ezekiel 5:1. Why the Most High telling Ezekiel to shave his head and beard if that's going off according to the law? Let's go to it. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 5. Right, because somebody might wonder that. They might say, well, hold on. we bring out all the time that the Israelite men can't shave their heads or their beards. Why did Ezekiel shave off his head and his beard? Why did Job shave his head in Job, the first chapter? Why did these men are going off? So we have to go into the true understanding and dive into this thing of what really happened. So this Ezekiel chapter 5 and 1, it says, "And thou, son of man, take thee a sharp knife, take thee a barber's razor, and cause it to pass upon thy head and upon thy beard. Then take thee balances to weight, and to divide the hair. Thou shalt burn with fire a third part in the midst of the city, when the days of the siege are fulfilled, and thou shalt take a third part and smite about it with a knife, and a third part thou shalt scatter in the wind, and I will draw a sword after them. Slack. Thou also take thereof a few in number, and bind them in thy skirts. Then take of them again, and cast them into the midst of the fire, and burn them in the fire, for thereof shall a fire come forth in all the house of Israel." So the Lord told Ezekiel to shave his head and his beard, all right, and burn it with fire a third part in the midst of city, for the days of the siege are fulfilled. He told him to take a knife, and a third part thou shalt scatter in the wind, and I will draw a sword after them. All of these things he's telling Ezekiel to do for what? When you read verse 5 again, it says, "Thus said the Lord," this is Jerusalem. It's like in verse 4, it says, "Then take them again and cast them into the midst of the fire, and burn them in the fire, for thereof shall a fire come forth into all the house of Israel." So the Lord told Ezekiel literally to do this, but it was a foretelling of what? That the Most High with fire was going to come into the house of Israel. Reading on verse 5. "Thus said the Lord God, this is Jerusalem. I have set it in the midst of the nations and countries that are round about her. And she have changed my judgments into wickedness more than the nations, and my statutes more than the countries that are round about her. For they have refused my judgments, and my statutes, they have not walked in them. Therefore, thus said the Lord God, because he multiplied more than the nations that are round about you, and have not walked in my statutes, neither have kept my commandments, neither have done according to the judgments of the nations that are round about you. Therefore, thus said the Lord God, behold, even I am against thee, and will execute judgments in the midst of thee, and in the sight of the nations." So when you read the rest of this chapter, it literally explains why the Lord told Ezekiel to do this, as a similitude, as a sign. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 8. And that's what a lot, when you read the prophets, the major prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, well, Hosea, chiefly, he told these men to do certain things that would be considered. He told Ezekiel to eat dung cakes. All right, in Ezekiel, the 4th chapter. Now, did he just tell him to do that for no reason? No, it symbolized that the Israelites would eat defiled bread amongst the Gentiles. He told Isaiah in Isaiah, the 20th chapter, to go out and walk out naked 3 years. Now, did he tell him that for no reason? Y'all might say, well, hold on. Isaiah is breaking Leviticus 18. He's uncovering his nakedness. Well, hold on. The Lord did that as a sign. So a lot of these things you're going to read in the prophets in their ministry, a lot of these things they're going to actually be doing, but it's for a sign. So it wouldn't be considered going off because the Most High told them to do it for a sign. That makes sense. This is Isaiah chapter 8 and verse number 18. It says, "Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel, from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion." See that? So these things are for signs and wonders. We're going to get an example of that. Let's go to the book of Hosea. get one example of a sign. All right, this Hosea chapter 1 and verse number 2. The beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said unto Hosea, Go and take unto thee a wife of whoredoms and children of whoredoms, for the land have committed great whoredoms, departing from the Lord. Hey, so the Lord told Hosea, hey, go get you a whore, man. A wife of whoredoms. Now, somebody's going to say, hold on, that's off. We can't deal with whores and harlots. We got to deal with virgins. Well, that's absolutely correct. But guess what? The Most High did this so Hosea could see how the children of Israel committed great whoredoms. And as you read down, all right, hey, this, Hosea get deep through the Spirit. Nevertheless, that's why, the Most High told him to do that in Ezekiel 5th chapter. Not only that, let's see if we got the Zondervan. All right, let's go to Zondervan Bible Compact Dictionary. All right, let's go to the Zondervan for the word beard. Because men would shave their heads and their beards in a sign of mourning. That's why you see Job in Job chapter 1, Job shaved his head as a sign of mourning. All right, so let's go to the word beard. Slovakia. All right, this is Zondervan Bible Compact Dictionary for the word beard. A badge of manly dignity. As a sign of mourning, it was the custom to pluck it out or to cut it off. See that? So for your beard, it is a badge of manly dignity, but as a sign of mourning, it was to pluck it out or cut it off. Nevertheless, let's move on. Next question. All right. From Love, P.S. Break down Songs of Solomon, chapter 4 and 1. All right, let's go to it. All right, the brother Love, P.S. on fire with the questions. Let's go to Songs of Solomon, the 4th chapter. All right, this Songs of Solomon, chapter 4, and verse number 1. It reads, Behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove eyes within thy locks. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from Mount Gilead. So again, when you break down Songs of Solomon, this is going into a threefold level. All right. Now, with this, on this particular chapter, this is basically describing, and the Lord is describing his bride, the nation of Israel, how comely they are, how beautiful they are through the Spirit. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 6. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 6. Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse number 2. Right? I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. All right, that's plain. So when you go into the 4th chapter, it says, Behold, Songs of Solomon chapter 4 and 1. Behold, thou art fair, meaning thou art beautiful. Fair is an ancient way of saying look good. Right now, Jake's saying, oh yeah, she fine. Eve's saying he fine. We're not going to say what else they be saying nowadays, but the ancient word of saying somebody is comely or handsome or beautiful, you might say, okay, she's fair. All right. It says, my love, behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove eyes within thy locks. And a dove is the Most High's favorite bird. through the Spirit. Let's go to that in second Esdras. All right, let's go to that in the book of second Esdras, chapter 5. It's the book of second Esdras, chapter 5, and verse number 2nd Esdras chapter 5 and verse 26. And of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove, and of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep. So out of all of the fowls, at the Most High, he named them chiefly one dove, because that's his favorite. All right, the Lord deals with doves when you read the scriptures. So when it says thou hast dove eyes within thy locks, again, it's just describing the beautiful characteristics. All right, reading on, thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from Mount Gilead. And for you to imagine this, you would have to be, in the ancient world. You had to be on Mount Gilead and see those goats, how beautiful they were. All right, how the skin or the coat of the goats are. Reading on verse 2, it says, thy teeth are like a flock of sheep that are even shorn, which came up from the washing. Thereof every one bare twins, there is none barren among them. Thy lips are like a thread of scarlet, thy speech is comely, thy temples are like a piece of pomegranate within thy locks. Thy neck is like the tower of David, builded for an armory, whereon there hang 1,000 bucklers, all shields of mighty men. And when you're reading this, a lot of these things, you will have to be physically there to really understand the description of how beautiful this is. All right. I mean, that's the only way. Because it says what? Thy neck is like the tower of David, built for an army. No man on the earth has seen the Tower of David, how beautiful it was. So you describing this, you're not really going to know you're going to know what's going into. You can only imagine, but you really had to be there to really see it. If you have ears to hear. That's why, let me precept that. Let me precept that in the book of Songs of Solomon. All right, chapter 1 and verse number 8. If thou know not, O thou fairest among women, go thy way forth by the footsteps of the flock, and feed thy kids beside the shepherd's tents. I have compared thee, O my beloved, to a company of horses in Pharaoh's chariots. So the Lord is comparing us to what? Horses in the Pharaoh's chariots. Now, do you know what Pharaoh's chariots look like? No. But that's how you compare. That's how the comparison is. So a lot of these things, you're going to have to literally actually see it for you to say, oh, wow, that's what it's really going into. Nevertheless, it's just describing the comeliness and the beautifulness, right, of the Lord and of the nation of Israel. All right. So let's move on. Next question from Love PS. What scriptures say the world will be destroyed in World War III? It would be destroyed with bombs. What scriptures say the world will be destroyed in World War III? Well, the world is not going to be completely destroyed in World War III. All right, World War III is just the nations fighting against each other. Now, the world is going to be destroyed chiefly at the end of World War III, leading up to the second coming of Yahushua. All right, leading up to the second coming of Yahushua. Now, let's go to the book of Revelation. Because you got the 7 seals. Now, when the 7 seals, you have 7 seals. When the 7 seals finish, then you have the 7 trumpets and vials that's going to kick off. The 7 seals and the 7th seal, that's when the Lord is going to return. All right? When all of the seals are kicked off. All right? Unless that's how, because with those 7 seals, you could determine the second coming of Yahushua. So in the midst of those seals going out, World War III will already be happening. Now, at the end of World War III, when it's time for the Most High to unleash his wrath with his vials and his trumpets, that's chiefly when this thing is going to be, when this place is really going to be destroyed. That's when a lot of the destruction is going to happen. Right, let's go to Revelation chapter 6. All right. All right, let's go to Revelation chapter 6 and verse number, I'm going to start at verse 13. Revelation 6 and 13. And the heaven departed as a scroll. I'm going to start at verse 13. It says, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth. Now, is that literal? Is literal stars going to fall into the earth? No. Those stars is going into the missiles. All right. Let's prove that. Let's go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 15. Now, this is all during World War III. So you're going to have certain bombs are going to destroy places on the earth. All right. But chiefly the whole world will be destroyed leading up into the second coming, chiefly when the Lord returns. We'll just say that. Because World War III is going on right now. But yet the world is not destroyed yet. So a lot of these prophecies is on a chronological timeline. A lot of these things are in order. So let's go to 2nd Esdras. Let's get some precepts for the stars. All right, this 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse number 40. And it reads, all right. Right, this 2nd Esdras 15 and 40, it says, the great and mighty cloud shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein, and they shall pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star, fire and hail and fleeing swords and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. So guess what? Who's going to pour out over America? A horrible star in intimate places. So that star that you read about in Revelation, the 6th chapter, is going into the missiles. So it said, but when the missiles are dropping, it's going to look like stars are falling from heaven. That's why when John described it, I mean, it literally looks like stars are literally falling from the sky. So reading on, let's go back to Revelation chapter 6 and verse 13 again. It says, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs. Slaki, when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and the heaven departed as a scroll, when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Now, when it says the heaven departed as a scroll, that's going into the mushroom cloud. All right, through the spirit. So you can pour this up. That is going into the mushroom cloud. Also known as the after effects from the missiles. So Lord willing, you can see my screen. This is the so-called mushroom cloud. That's why it says in the heaven departed as a scroll rolled together. It's like a scroll when it's rolled together. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places due to the aftermath of the nuclear warheads, the missiles. Look at that. But this is all during the time of the sixth seal. So chiefly, this would be at the end of World War III. All right. So we're going to move on to the next question. It says, from Love Pierce, where in the Bible does it say a man can have multiple wives? Does 1 Corinthians 7 go against it, as Christians say? Well, let's go to it. You can have multiple wives. It's not a sin. All right, it's not a sin to have multiple wives. Jacob had multiple wives. Abraham. Now, I will say this. If you are interested in another wife, or a man does take another wife, her raiment, and duty of marriage, he can't diminish that through the Spirit. And on another fold, if a man does take the responsibility of another wife, he has to be both financial. He has to be in a position to do that. All right. You can't, a lot of times people say you can't have multiple wives because for the world nowadays, it's a lot of lust. It's a lot of lust now. So Jake, you tell Jake you can have multiple wives, he think women nowadays, they don't like that. He say, nah, you're not getting another woman. So you don't love me. So you don't love me anymore. Eve start getting insecure. And Jake, he just do it to freak off, and he don't even have his things. He's not even using multiple wives for what it's supposed to be used for. He's just doing it out of lust. All right. So when you do that, it got a lot of confusion, especially when it's like when brothers and sisters come into the truth, they still have that same mentality and spirit on them. And that's where a lot of the confusion is. But we could go to some precepts. This Exodus chapter 22 and verse number, I believe that's Exodus 21. Yeah, this Exodus chapter 21 and verse number 10. Exodus 21 and 10. If he take him another wife, her food and raiment and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. And if he do not these three unto her, then she shall go out free without money. So a man, he could take him another wife, but certain things he still have to take on and responsibilities that he still has to carry on with his first wife that he has. Let's go to Deuteronomy 21 and 15. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 15. It says, if a man have two wives, one be loved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. So it's saying if a man does have two wives, letting you know that you can have multiple wives, but in certain circumstances, certain things apply. So you can have a woman that you love, you can have a woman that you hate. Kind of like Jacob did. He had one that he loved more than the other. But that firstborn son of the hated, if he's really the firstborn, you can't say, well, hold on, I don't really like his mom like that. The woman I really love, the more I'm gonna make her son the firstborn. No, that's off. You can't just switch up the inheritances. Now it says, does 1 Corinthians 7 go against it, as Christians say? All right, well, let's get one more precept. Let's get a couple more precepts on that multiple wives. And you needed multiple wives because one woman, the Lord back in the ancient world, all right, and still now we were fruitful and multiplying, and one woman can only have so many children. Right now, Eve had one kid and say, I'm done. Hey, back then a woman could only, maybe hold about 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 at the most. So if you wanted 20 sons, one woman can't have 20 children, 20 kids. So you have multiple women to help bear those children. All right. But let's go to Matthew 25. It's Matthew 25:1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. So although this is a parable, the kingdom of heaven is what? It's likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. So that's 10 virgins and one bridegroom. All right. You can't, you can't make that up. Now let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. First Corinthians chapter 7 and verse number 1. It says, now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have their own husband. Right? So Paul is right. Again, we got to keep in context that Paul, he's writing this epistle to the church of Corinth. Now, these Corinthians, or the church of Corinth, they're on a certain level. All right. They're not on the level that all the rest of the churches are on, or everybody else. The church of Corinth they're inferior to the rest of the churches. They're on a really low level. All right, let me see if I can get that in 2 Corinthians. The church of Corinth, they didn't really know what was going on. All right, see if I can get this. In 2 Corinthians chapter, right, bear with me. All right, let me see if I can get this quick precept. All right. Kind of knew it's 2 Corinthians 12. All right, this 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse number 13. It reads, for what is it wherein you were inferior to other churches, except it be that I myself was not burdensome to you, but give me this wrong. So the church of Corinth, they was inferior to the rest of the churches, meaning below. They was on a low level. And there was a lot of fornication going on in Corinth. You could see that in the book of 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, verse 1, where you had men sleeping with their fathers' wives. So that's why Paul says in let's go back to 1 Corinthians 7:1. Actually, let me get this real fast. In 1 Corinthians chapter 5:1, it says, it is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication that is not so much named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife. So, hey, that's off. This was going on in the church of Corinth. Hey, Paul said it's such fornication that shouldn't even, that's really not even named amongst the Gentiles like that, the real Gentiles. But you had men trying to getting what they doing lewd acts with their father's wives. So that's why it says, and let's go to 1 Corinthians 7:2. It says, now Paul is really saying, me personally, as speaking as a man, it's really good that a man should not touch a wife, because with a wife comes responsibilities, and depending on where you're at in your position as a man in life, you might not be ready to take on those responsibilities yet. You might have still things you gotta have to get accomplished, or things of that nature. All right, and you got this truth. This truth is, that's a lot in itself. And I agree with Paul, right? It is good that a man, should not touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication. Because guess what? We just got to put every Israelite man is not built up like that. Jake, he can only sit still for so long till he see a woman, a Eve, whether she in the truth or not, he gonna start getting hot. All right, and can't contain himself. Next thing you know, he start burning. So Paul said, hold on. To avoid fornication, let every man have his wife, let every woman have her husband. Not saying that you can't have multiple wives. It's just you have to know the context of why Paul is saying this. All right. That's why jumping down to verse 8, it says, I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. Right? So certain men and women, they can't contain themselves. They can't practice celibacy. All right. Abstinence. They're not, so everybody's not on that level to do that. So instead of burning, just get a wife. Woman, get a husband, let things be done in righteousness. So that's what it's going into. Moving on to the next question. From Thamawaria Israel. Shalom. Can y'all break down 2 Kings 17:24 on down? Let's go to it. It's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17, and verse number 24. It says, and the king of Israel, it's like, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Kutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Servium, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and replaced in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of God of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them because they know not the manner of God of the land. All right. I believe that's what you right. So, all that's going into is, after the children, because the northern kingdom, when you read 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, they got taken into captivity. All right. They got taken into captivity. And when they got removed out of Samaria by the king of Assyria, the Lord placed Hamites into those lands. And those Hamites was going off, probably worshiping other gods, not fearing the Most High. And he sent lions among them and killed them. All right. So that's all it's going into. All right. I'm not sure if it was something particular. Nevertheless, that's all it was going into. All right, move on to the next question. From Swag Society, can you use the microwave on the Sabbath day? I know there's mixed opinions on that. The what? Can you use the microwave on the Sabbath? No. All right. No. Then I would have to ask what are you using the microwave for? 9 times out of 10, you're gonna say to heat up food. Then I'm gonna have to tell you, all of that should have been prepared the day before. All right. Let's go to Mark chapter 15. Yeah, no using a microwave on the Sabbath. Now I know certain families, they have newborn babies, they need milk heated up and things like that nature. You don't want to be over righteous when it comes to that. Nevertheless, no warming up food. Oh yeah, I forgot. All right. And you just, you warming up a Stouffer's TV dinner. That's off. Everything should be prepared in the 6 days. Let's go to Mark chapter 15 and 42. It reads, and now when the even was come, because it was the preparation, that is the day before the Sabbath. So you have some called a preparation day, which is the day before the Sabbath, where you're supposed to get everything together before the Sabbath comes in, so everything is straight. You don't have to do anything. Now, when you read, let's go to Exodus chapter 16. Now, when you go to Exodus chapter 16 and verse number, I'm going to jump down to verse. I'm going to start at verse 16. It says, this is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man, according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. Now this was for the Sabbath day. It says, and Moses said, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left of it until the morning, and it bred worms and stank, and Moses was wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed hot, it melted. And it came to pass that on the 6th day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said, tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which you will bake today, and see that which you will see, and that which remaineth over lay it up for you to be kept until the morning. And it was laid up until the morning as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein. And Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field. 6 days shall you gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. Now, I bring this out to say, Exodus 16 was written for our learning. Now, in another fold, why would Moses tell them get twice as much because the Sabbath is coming in, when they could have just went out and just go got it? Why? Because things are supposed to be done in 6 days. So that's something you just can't get around of. I mean, brothers could say, well, hold on, show me in the law why I can't heat it up, da 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 da. That's not the argument. The Lord said, where there's no law, there's no sin. But at the end of the day, you have to prepare everything in those 6 days. Don't be the Israelite to prepare it on the 7th day, because you didn't prepare it in the 6 days. Because the Lord said, prepare everything in 6 days. On the Sabbath, it's the Sabbath of rest. If you're not doing that, then you're breaking the law. That's simple. All right, so no microwaves. All right, next question. Next question. All right, so like I'm trying to see if I could get all of these in order. That says, all right, from Swag Society, are you allowed to tuck in your fringes at your job? No, you are not allowed to tuck in your fringes at the job. All right, no tucking in your fringes at the so-called workplace. If that's the case, you just don't even wear them. If you're gonna tuck them in, you might as well not even wear them. If that's the case, what are you tucking them? What are you tucking them in for? All right, you got certain jakes, they do that, man. I'm just tuck them in. All right. Oh snap! Eve coming. Tuck them in. No, that's come on, brother. What are you What are you tucking them in? It means you're hiding. What are you hiding? What are you trying to hide? No tucking in your fringes. All right. You get the Lord said, let's go to Matthew 5. What are you tucking in your fringes for, man? All right. Jake, Jake be doing that stuff. Only Jake would do something like that. Only, you tucking in your seats. It's either a couple of reasons. You don't want people to look at you weird. Maybe you don't want to get talked about. What else? You're scared about this truth. You're really offended. All right. You won't confess the name of the Lord. That's really what it is. You're scared. You gotta let your light shine, man. You know how many people come up at my so-called work, they say, hold on, what are those things at the end of your shirts? You never know. You might bring somebody in the truth. That's a time for you to spread the truth by doing that. They see your friends, because obviously you're probably the only person in there wearing them. So they see them with them, they gonna ask you, what is those? And you explain to them, hey, these are fringes. I'm an Israelite, we have to keep the commandments. It's prophesied in the Bible. Next thing you know, you at the workplace and you getting sins off you. All right. So that's not a spirit. You don't want to be in the tuck in your fringe spirit. That's a spirit. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5 and 15. All right, let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 15. It says, neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So that light, you want to let it shine before men. So those men, they can see it. They can see your good works, and they're going to say, all praise to the Most High God. All right. I mean, this is what you signed up for. I don't know why you I don't know why, not directed to you, but I don't know why you would tuck in your fringes. That's off. All right, let me see. That's off, man. No doing that. What do you? I'm trying to stay cool, because what are you doing it for? Like, what are you doing it for? Why would you do that? Just like really, why? Why would you do that? That's what not again, swag society, this is not directed towards you. But why would somebody do that? I have to know the reason. Why would you do that? Just why? What are you doing it? What are you doing it for? Why are you sucking them in? I would really want to know the reason. Why are you sucking them in? What do you let's go to side rap. What are you sucking them in for? All right. This is Sirach chapter 20 and verse number 30. Sirach 20 and 30. It says, wisdom that is hid and treasure that is hoarded up. What profit is it in both? Better is he that hideth his folly than a man that hideth his wisdom. So it's better for you to hide your sins than for you to hide your wisdom. When you tuck in your friends, you hiding your wisdom, man. Like, what are you doing it for? What you care what man? You care what man thinks? What is man gonna say? Especially if you're an adult, what is man gonna really say? Oh yeah, you can't wear your fringes. You gotta tuck them in. They don't care about that. You could say, hold on, this is my heritage, this is what I do, etc. There's no reason for you to tuck in. There's really no reason for you to tuck in your fringes at all. No reasons. Because when you're doing that, you're moving in a spirit of fear. 9 times out of 10, you scared of something. Let's go to 2 Timothy. All right, the Most High is not dealing with that at all. What's the point of you? Oh, man, let's just answer this. What's the point of you wearing them? If you're gonna tuck them in, what's the point? You might as well just don't wear them. If you're gonna tuck them in, what are you tucking them in for? All right, let's go to 2 Timothy. All right, let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse number 7. All right. It says, for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That be not therefore ashamed of the testimony of our Lord. Right? So it says, the Most High has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of sound mind. Not only that, be not ashamed of the testimony of the Lord. Didn't Christ wear his fringes? All right. Didn't Yahushua wear his fringes in Matthew chapter 14 and 36? You can't be ashamed of the testimony. It says, nor of me his prisoner, but be thou partaker of the afflictions of the gospel according to the power of God. See that? All right. You see that? You can't be, no, we're not dealing with that. If I see a man, we're not gonna say too much. But if I see that, I might really get heated through the spirit. I might really get upset. So no tucking in your fringes, wear them. I mean, it's no reason for you to tuck them in. I mean, what are you tucking them in for? You want to eat what you want. You want to impress the so-called, you want to impress the Eve there. 9 out of 10 of them Eves that's working up there, they not in the truth. And if they was, they would want you to wear your fringes, brother. If you're doing it because the so-called white man told you to do it, then, you know, that's something that you got to go to HR for and tell them and let them know, like, you know, this is what I believe in. Other than that, you got to wear your fringes. All right. But with that, we're giving all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, right? If I didn't get to your question today, Most High willing, we'll be doing another one next week through the Spirit. And eventually, Lord willing, I get to your question. But with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. Continue to read, pray, fast, study. Most importantly, beseech the Heavenly Father for his mercy. That I'm going to say shalom.